Welcome back to my channel, Libra. This is a reading just for the next 2-week period of March 2023. Some of you, this might resonate a little further out. Again, it's just based on energy. It's not predictions, so it is something that you can always move around, change, alter. So as they say, nothing's written in stone, but it's the energy that is around you, and you can make the best use out of it. Given the scenarios that are presented here. So again, some of this is going to be, as I say, a little further out. The main energies that I see here are all very minor arcana. So I wouldn't say that, but I mean, on the upside, a lot of these clarifiers that came out, and I'm certainly working with a little bit of room here. I'm always out and about. So it does look as though the clarifiers are quite large. So that to me indicates a lot of this might be a little further out, but the energy is starting to resonate here in the first couple of weeks, or in this next couple of weeks, so roughly about the 8th onward to about the 18th or so. So what I see here is you are clearly in a position of some stress here. For sure, the Nine of Swords is a card of feeling a lot of anxiety, feeling like, but they're all end cycle cards here as well, or very close to. Again, more the clarifiers in that respect. But right now, the Nine is definitely bringing something into a conclusion so that you can integrate the story here as you will, and then we'll get into some of the more positive attributes out of this next 2 weeks. So again, the energy that you're in right now is a lot of finalizing of things. Again, some of you, this is going to resonate a little further out into March or even into April. Everybody's on a different timeline. You make decisions on different dates. It's really, you have to allow for some flexibility in that regard. But when we're looking at the Nine of Swords, again, that is still an energy of feeling a lot of anxiety. And I did ask more specifically, I did ask for general energy, but also in around money specifically. So it does feel like it might be a little bit of an, I don't want to say necessarily like it's maybe drama-filled kind of environment over the next few weeks, because you are kind of concluding some chapter of your life in a very big way. So this is going to be a time where there is going to be some upheaval. You do have a number of challenges, but most of it seems to be in around your security-minded areas. So anything that represents security for you. There is, as I say, some pentacles here. So for sure that can represent body issues and things along that line too. But for the most part, again, I did sort of focus on, finances and just any significant energies that might be coming through. So what I'm looking at here is issues that could be around confusion, around possibly a younger person here with the Page of Swords. You're trying to get clear on something, and it seems like you're in some kind of a holding position here with the Hanged Man. You need to change your perspective. You really need to try to find a way to sort of break the cycle here is what's happening, because you're going through a lot of apprehension. This is a lot of, mental energy and anxiety that obviously could have that trickle down effect as well into the physical body. So you just want to be aware of those things. But just more liberally, I mean, you could be going through, nightmares, sleepless nights, anything along that line. But it is an indication that, sorry, you need to change some things. Sorry, my throat's a little weird today. But again, it might be leaving you feeling a little vulnerable in terms of your finances. As I said, this does seem to be an area where there is some challenges, and it's you kind of bringing up everything to the forefront and trying to deal with it all at once. You're very guarded here, not just from the Nine of Swords, but we also have further down underneath the Knight of Wands. Your actions are being very slow and methodical, because we do have you further out here taking some small practical steps in terms of your money, but you're really holding back in a big way. I feel in terms of family, there is some form of abundance that's going to sort of spring forward here, and there's going to be some assistance in some way. So whether this is people that you consider family, or whether this is just in general some kind of family dynamic that is going to be leading to, normally the Tower is sort of a moment of upheaval, but in the same respect, it's right beside the abundance card. So it could be a maternal figure that this is around as well. But I'm also seeing sort of motherly as well as father kind of energy here as well, with that or sorry, not the Four of Pentacles, but the Emperor. So again, further out, there is the energy of a lot of changes in around the family dynamic. Something there is kind of leading toward an abundant path. Again, this is just the energy that's starting out. So again, a lot of these other ones with the Tower and so on, this is further out, but just know that it's coming. So, and sort of prepare for it accordingly. But the Emperor does lead me to believe that and as well, because further out, even though it's a little harder to see, this is the Emperor as well as the Hierophant. So this is dealing around some long-standing commitments or relationship issues. So there's a lot of guardedness, a lot of security-minded attributes to the reading. As I said, I feel like you are really holding back your position. You're being very careful in how you're moving forward here, which until you know further, which way to sort of move and you see something, then I would say that that's probably the best maneuver here, given what I'm looking at, because there's a lot of needing to release a lot of situations here, because we do have the Eight of Swords, a lot of mental anguish, a lot of mental energy in around, again, could be a long-term relationship, but because I do see the Empress, and again, it's clarified with that Tower next to the Ten of Pentacles. There's something that's happening, that family dynamic is going to have some kind of significant change that's erupting here in this next, again, short period. For some of you, it might be a little further out, not necessarily in the next 2 weeks, because these are the clarifiers here. So, but there is something that is already starting in terms of the family issue that is going to be bringing about some significant change here as well. And again, could be around a mother-father sort of dynamic, but the Tower does uproot things to some extent. But it seems to be around the finances for sure. And it feels like there is a definite completion of a cycle that is very, very close at hand for, around the family situation for sure. Because not only do I have the Four of Pentacles, which is really that card of holding back. And again, it can be a prosperous card as well. And it could still very well play out that way. I'm just reading it further out here. But it's just right now, what I'm looking at is just you being in a position of very guarded sort of state. But we also have the Six of Swords. So again, you're kind of putting some distance between your, your worries with the Eight of Swords. You are moving into the energy of the Knight of Pentacles, that slow, steady progress. And for sure, we do have the Four of Wands. So there is some sense of family being supportive in some way here. Just because I've run out a little bit of room, I'm just going to kind of pull some of these cards over, and then I'll spread them out as I go through it a little bit more. So I'll flesh it out here, but right now we're just going to continue on as I go. In the short form. Okay, so again, we do have below there, that was the Emperor, and I'm just going to throw this right into the middle of things. But it is really the clarifier all around the Ten of Pentacles. And I even tried to clarify that much further. So again, this is still further out energy. It's not going to be anything that's taking place in the immediate for me. This really does look like it's going to be energy around things will play out, and it's almost completed. Everything's almost completed in around a family dynamic, in around something that is, again, could be a coupleship here too, but it's a very strong, powerful kind of coupleship. But the clarifiers I did here as well as over here. So in the second pile here with the clarifier around family, as well as, sorry, I guess that was in around the Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles. We have Judgment. So again, Judgment, there is a conclusion. Something is coming in here pretty quick. There is a deep transformation on some specific level. All of this conflict, all of these things, something is coming into balance here. And again, if not in the next 2 weeks, for some of you, it's going to be further out, resonating it possibly into April, as these are the clarifiers, but these are all conclusion cards. These are all finished and done with a certain cycle. So things should be moving into a more prosperous space, given all of the cards that follow. Again, these are all still sort of minor arcana. Sorry, I'm just going to just do a little quick vehicle thing here. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so I'm just going to go into, sorry, one more sec here. Okay, so I'm just going to go into, again, just clarifying a little bit more along the lines of what we're looking at here. As I said, the Four of Pentacles, this was a card that was being clarified um, with some of the other cards here, which I did lay out as well. But Four of Pentacles in itself, as I said, is a card of trying to regain some balance in a situation. Fours are all about, as well as the Emperor. Again, that's still more of a clarifier further out, but you are trying to regain balance of some sort in this next 2-week period. Again, they're all minor arcana, so I don't see any really significant moves here. You are making some move with that Knight of Wands to advance something, because that Knight of Wands is a card of progression, and you are putting some energy behind a particular project. Could be something a little more creative, but I definitely feel like it is you know, kind of somebody who's taking advantage of a vision that they're trying to advance. It can be tempers flaring as well, because around a long-term sort of commitment situation here. It does feel like possibly with a younger person, because of the Nine of Swords next to that Page of Swords. Could be somebody who is also in a spying sort of capacity that's in around, it's almost like there's a stalemate in the situation where something is not really advancing. Somebody's doing an awful lot of watching in regards to a situation. So you're very guarded in this particular dynamic, whatever this relationship is. But again, Kings are sort of the final card, and the Knight is really the card that speaks to still taking action toward a conclusion on some level. So again, Knight of Wands, there is action on an inspired sort of project here. You are making some small steps toward a goal. Anyway, that's what I would kind of break that down to. It's still some bigger steps that you need to tackle, but right now with the Knight, it just is you sort of making some, you know, advancement, like I said, kind of traveling toward this very more of a legacy path, like something that's got this isn't just a job in my mind. This is somebody who is trying to commit to something on a very large scale. So because this is getting on with it, this is actually, you know, doing workshops, any kind of, you know, trying to train yourself to get into something to advance it. It's pursuing it. You are not wanting to be bored here. This is somebody who really, you know, is looking for something that's a little more exciting. Maybe kind of in and out with the energy, you know, so sporadic kind of motions, because again, I see there's some inspiration and then some movement, and then it's kind of slows down, slow practical steps. So it's still moving in the right direction, but it just feels like it's kind of periodic in the way that you're moving forward. So you might be still kind of actively searching for something, but like I said, I do feel like you're kind of, you know, in a place where you are still enthusiastic, but a very cautious kind of maneuvering to get, you know, to put everything into the right place is what that sort of speaks to me as. Because the Nine of Wands, nines are, as I said, everything kind of coming to a conclusion, and you're sort of integrating your actions to, you know, get to a point of flexibility is maybe but it's more fulfillment. I mean, I just feel like I say there's a lot of mental thought going on here to kind of resolve an issue. But Nine of Wands, like I said, is still things advancing forward. There's still things where you have the control, you have the upper hand. Things are not out of your control. You're just doing an awful lot of worry around a situation. But again, for whenever I see nines, and especially when it's Nine of Swords, Nine of Wands, and again, even though it's a little further out, there's one final test that you need to kind of complete, and it's going to take a lot of determination to kind of move this into the final space of abundance to really make something turn around. And that is where I feel this next 2 weeks is going to stand out. Again, some of you, it might be a little further out, but overall, you just have to be a little bit patient and understand that you'll overcome the obstacles. All the cards that follow are quite, you know, positive. It's just that you have to, you know, kind of configure your mindset around, wrap your head around how you're going to sort of finalize the test or the last battle that you have to overcome here. So again, this is not going to be the last battle you ever, you know, encounter, but it certainly does speak to a battle that you are facing currently. It's in your energy field, whatever this is for you. It's going to be different for all of you. But just know that whatever this is, it's kind of a bit of a brief pause. That's where you're starting out here with that Hanged Man energy, and then it kind of moves into some slow actions, kind of in and out, very guarded, very methodical. You know, and this is just, it's still moving toward the project, still moving toward getting more information, especially with that Page of Swords. You know, you're still feeling that there are some things that are beyond your control. But it definitely feels like whatever this is, it's going to require some major discipline, because that Emperor down here indicates there's major discipline that's going to be required and able to bring about this abundance. And then you'll get this big Tower moment further out that's really going to bring things into, you know, into a place where you can, you know, make some adjustments and actually have things move in your favor, so you've got more leverage. Again, when we're looking at the Ten of Pentacles, like that's still a card of, I just want to go back to, there was also, I don't think I really went into the page here down. So the Page of Pentacles there as well is sort of underlying. So again, there's still something that's in around, I just see a lot of youthful energy here as well. So there, again, in around a relationship with a younger person, there's still something here that represents some situation where things have been heated, or maybe in this next couple of weeks, there's a lot of guarded energy around a younger person. But it is sort of, it's moving in a more favorable light. But again, it's very cautious, sort of careful energy and very slow little movements. Because like I say, I mean, the Page of Swords does still indicate that there is some conflict there. And again, somebody might be watching you here that's of a longer term commitment. Could be corporate sort of energy here as well. Anything hierarchical, anything that's hierarchical, that is could even be government, that kind of thing. But when we're looking at the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords, like I said, could be a little bit of gossip still going on here, but it is still sort of nervous energy, but there's also a curiosity around you this month. So I feel like there is a sense that you could be potentially maybe there was conflict in terms of somebody being very outspoken, or somebody's outspoken with you, but you're being very protective about your energy. You're being very protective about how you advance forward and how you communicate. So again, Page of Pentacles is still, there could be some kind of little investigation of sorts, but there's also that student apprentice feel when you read with the Page of Pentacles, and it does feel like there is a guardedness about how you're advancing forward with this new information. So I just feel like could be some messages or information that will be coming through in some small way, and it might be something that does kind of create a bit of an imbalance around the family front. But again, it still feels like you come out on top here, because the balance cards are all here. So like the Four of the Emperor, the Four of Wands, the World card, and of course the Justice card, all of that as it played out earlier. But of course the Ten of Pentacles is still a card of being fairly, you know, balanced and feeling the support here. But there is something that the family may have to face in terms of a bit of an upset here. But again, somehow it is you being in control of the situation, and you'll have the ability to guide yourself out of that situation. So again, there's indications that there is going to be some skills, some education, some more learning, but it's still stamina, practical energy, very down to earth, very responsible kind of energy that's coming in here. Again, there's still a sense of studies. For some of you, this might be along that line. There's still some kind of education that could be present here that is still feeling very restricted in how something's going forward, but it is going to open up here. So Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius could also be relevant here as well, but a lot of the energy that's coming through is you needing to be clever in the way that you proceed forward. Like I said, you don't want to lock horns with people. You don't want to cause any kind of upset to the situation, because you're already feeling very guarded and very overloaded. And you do have a last hurdle, but it is going to be faced with very slow, practical moves. So I just feel like there is also a sense that you are, you know, you're following your principles, but you are being just very tactful and, you know, maybe even a little bit secretive in the way that you're advancing forward here. I do feel like you're really thirsty for knowledge here in this month. There's a lot of energy that speaks to me that family is really important, very significant focus for this period. And as I said, I mean, a lot of the cards that that we're pulling forward underneath the Tower, and again, for some of you, this is all a little bit further out. They still spoke to there being kind of, and again, 2 nines, to me, it just feels like there's some major upheaval, some big challenge that's yet to sort of conquer, and then you're kind of in the free zone. Yeah, so, I mean, because the cards, as I said, that ended up here were the World card, and not only just the World card, and again, this is further out, but you have the Balance card of the Justice. You are getting some kind of fairness in the situation. We've got an end cycle of everything that was coming at you and being difficult. You're overcoming because there's a transformation within you. So you've made some kind of clever maneuvers here, especially with the Judgment. You are outwitting whatever your opponents are here, because you are, you know, you're following very traditional sort of values and slow, methodical maneuvers. You're distancing yourself from the things that you can't control. You are actually starting to release some of that. And it could be, again, in around the family front, because there is a bit of a Tower moment here, but it still feels like everything is on top. So, yeah, so I might just going into, again, just that Four of Pentacles, just to kind of wrap some of it up in shorter form here. The Four of Pentacles, like I said, is still a card of you having control over the situation, especially when it was with the further out card, with the Emperor. Right now you're not feeling it because it's still further out. Those are the clarifiers. But there is kind of an inability at this time to sort of let go of things, but you will further out be able to respond in that way. You might be even holding back emotionally at this time. There's a lot of reserve, a lot of hiding of your feelings. Again, there's just a lot of possible heartbreak that you've really gone through here, and this is sort of the residual end of things. And that means that you're not going to be repeating an old pattern, because I see a lot of things that you're just letting go of here. And you're kind of restructuring the whole situation here, further out again, but still you know that it's coming. So I do feel like you are going to be in a place where there is a great amount of effort is going to be required and able for you to make these big moves here, like, and able to make things, you know, drive it into the direction that you're looking to. But it's you needing to grow through traditional values, like through traditional means as well. Especially when I see the Emperor there, it's a very controlled energy. A lot of discipline is going to be required to make this happen, whatever this is. So don't abandon anything here, because you just need to release some of the things that are holding you back and able to make some room for the level of practical steps that you'll have to put into action. There's a lot of reevaluating your priorities and, you know, letting go of those things that are considered losses. There's some things that you're not going to be able to improve, and so it's not really benefiting you to emotionally kind of you know, constipate yourself, or, you know, emotionally sort of cling to, or emotionally bury yourself in issues or migraines or anything that, you know, however that plays out within you on a deep level, because that is where you're at right now. There's a lot of issues going on a very deep level. So as I said, I feel like you are or have been in a place of suffering, but things are going to open up here. There's a last sort of challenge here. You're still in that space. There's still a lot of stress around it, but there is definitely some really good cards here indicating that further out you are making all the right moves, you're doing the right things to get out of this situation, whatever this little scenario is for you. And again, it's unique to each of you, but you are definitely in a place of taking action. So there is some in and out action in terms of possible relationships here, even with a younger person. And certainly you're taking some small practical steps here in terms of your finances and education, especially when I see the two pages together there. That really does draw strongly for me that you're quite curious about something, and you're trying to make some maneuvers in a new area potentially. That does represent, like I said, some real commitment with the Hierophant the Hierophant and the Page of Pentacles. But I definitely feel like whatever these steps are for you this month, it is going to be sort of the foundation for how things are going here, because you're right at the stage of the night. So the 2 pages and 2 nights means, for me, there is some new energy coming in here along a path that you are still taking some action on, but it's new energy, and it's in around education, it's in around being curious and getting clear on the path. So you're trying to set some financial goals here. I feel like you are going to be sticking to a budget. I feel like you're steadily recovering. Your focus is quite intense here this month, and I do feel like there is some abundance up ahead here. There's some money that will be coming in. And I think that is sort of that abundant energy, as I mentioned earlier, because you were at the stage of the Empress being around the 10 of Pentacles. It's formed in around the finances. And again, it came through with the Tower card, and then it went from the Emperor was in around that as well. So again, it feels like the finances are going to improve. You do have some sense of strong control around how things are playing out. And again, you're distancing yourself from all of this stress and confusion, because what's inevitably coming in is a big Tower moment that is going to dislodge whatever you've been stuck with, and it's going to create some harmony and balance. So again, whatever that is for you, that Tower moment is going to be causing you a lot of distress, and then suddenly everything changes to a positive. So again, a lot of this is still a little further out for most of you, most likely, because like I say, I mean, you're still a lot of stuck energy over here, but it is going to unlock here further out, because these are the main energies just for this month. A lot of stress, a lot of worry, one last upheaval to sort of deal with, actions being taken in around finances and family, and certainly you're very constricted, or at least holding back, very security minded, still slow actions in how you're proceeding forward. But it does end up on the World card, and the World card is also a card of success, and it definitely does speak to that journey sort of ending. And it was a hard journey here by the looks of it, but there is something that is kind of coming full cycle here, and that stagnation is going to break, because this is going to give you a little more momentum, whatever this World card is, because you've grown. Something has allowed you to, you've been able to release something in this month. And again, some of you might be just a little further out in the end of March or April, but the overall energy is that you have some boundaries here. You're being very guarded, and you are completing things. So the World is that reminder that the journey is the true goal, and also just an indicator that you are creating options for yourself, because you're actually growing from your scenarios that you've been involved with. So like I said, I mean, this is very positive energy here. You are striking a balance somehow along the line, and it's got a very deep meaning for you, because there's been so much mental energy that you put into all of these situations. So even in terms of health, this would be harmony and balance and things being more beneficial for you. But overall, it's just a positive outlook. When we just kind of get through to, again, just the 10 of Pentacles, that's when things are wrapping up. So right now we're still at the stage of dealing with family issues and abundance and money, and waiting on some cycle of some sort, kind of coming forward with a change, something where you can transition into. And I feel like you are just getting prepared for this new beginning, and that's where I feel like you're at. You're getting prepared for this new beginning, and a lot of this is still kind of slow incremental changes, but it's very positive, very good moves that are up ahead here. Like I said, there's just too much here that speaks to things going in your favor, especially a little further out, more so toward the end of the month. Is really where that's coming in. But I would say even with the Ten of Pentacles, you know, this is you wanting to establish yourself with family and make, you know, better, you know, create more of a stronger foundation on the home front here as well. But I feel like in some ways maybe you were caught off guard with some kind of unexpected event with that Tower moment here, but it still fares, you know, in your favor. But like I said, I mean, there could be some kind of discussions that were in around male-female couple here. Very strong, you know, strong dynamic there. But there is some kind of, you know, something that is going to have to happen here in around that family front. But it is going to be a positive one. So that's sort of what your primary focus is for this month, is family and really strong connections, because that energy around, even though it's further out here with that Hierophant, is still, it's kind of a stuck energy around younger people, where something hasn't really, and again, for some of you, for those that don't have children, I mean, the pages are going to represent something different for you. So the Page of Pentacles could very well be in around the energy of, like I say, new studies or something along that line, where there might be some new challenge that you're trying to take on that is in regards to a money situation anyway. But again, it's going to require a fair amount of strategizing here. The Ten of Pentacles is, you know, to me, it's kind of resolving some kind of situation. But again, I'm just not 100% clear on what that Tower is. I just know that it ends on more of a positive for you. So whatever is going to be kind of an upsetting scenario there, I just feel like it is going to have, you know, a more favorable outcome for the whole of the family, not just for yourself, because the Four of Wands is also a card of celebration, but it's also a card of you know, something being kind of surprising when it's coupled next to the Tower energy there. So there might be some surprise scenario that's going on in around that Four of Wands. But like I say, it's going to speak to all of you a little bit different, but it's still very positive overall, the outcome of that. What I would also just kind of add in there, again, they're all very minor arcana, so I wouldn't fret too much here, because I feel like you're putting a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of drive and energy to, you know, that's kind of burning you out a little bit with that Nine of Wands. And it does feel like, again, it's around the home front, it's around the things that you consider stability, it's around the things that consider you, you know, it's where your security mind is this month, or at least this couple of weeks here. But I just feel like you'll get some clarity in a short time, and then you'll be able to make some changes up ahead. But you're still in the energy of making small incremental changes with that Knight of Wands. It's kind of back and forth sort of energy. And you're not quite at the 10. You're all, you know, a lot of these cards are still kind of reaching a conclusion over, you know, further out, because you're just still in the energy of guardedness, holding back, small incremental steps. But you're almost at a final conclusion here again. So just as a quick reminder, you're ready for some kind of big change. And again, there could be something that's in around a younger person here. It doesn't have to be a complete child, because the night energy is coming up twice. So this could be somebody 20s, 30s, something in that range there as well. But it does still speak to, could even be working with people from the past here as well. But there's also something about, you know, being at a bit of a crossroads, as I said, possibly with a younger person here, because it's somebody that you've known for some time, because we do have the Hierophant there. It's somebody that is, you know, somebody that is quite significant to you. And outside of that, I guess I could wrap it up here in the next short little bit here. But even on a relationship front, somebody that you've known for some time that might be in and out of your life here with the Knight of Wands, if we're looking at it from the perspective of a love interest. Somebody is still kind of moving things in your favor, but there might be one big upheaval here where there's a bit of a surprise element. Again, maybe somebody's coming through to help you with money or something along that line, but there's a discussion in around finances for sure. And again, this could be somebody who is kind of a flirty sort of energy with that Knight of Wands, but it is still indicating some element of surprise here, especially because that Knight of Wands is somebody who doesn't stick around too often, or isn't, isn't always reliable. So it feels like you're very guarded in that particular situation. You're not really prepared to advance in that direction, and yet Page of Pentacles indicates that there is some form of movement where things can start to be expressed, albeit in a very kind of practical way. It doesn't feel like it is, but it is eventually kind of moving into more of a secure-minded element here. There's something that is producing a feeling of trust again here, because there is more of a surprise element of security being introduced here. So again, I feel like whether this is, a friend or family member or love interest, that's just kind of been thinking about you and just kind of making some small token advancing towards you, and you're, could be kind of more of a passionate sort of advance here, as I said. But again, there's still a strong element of, a family energy or long-term committed kind of connection, where there is still something that's very agreeable, something that is very favorable, that is going to allow some movement anyway in that direction. Again, I still feel like there is a little bit of wear and tear on you, and I just feel like there's a lot of tension and frustration in this next couple of weeks, but there will be some success after this difficulty. Again, there's small, minor arcana, so it's not big, major stuff happening in this next 2-week period, but further out, there is going to be a little bit of a surprise. Seems to be in around abundance, and again, for sure, it's in around, it will impact the family or the, your close connection unit there, because as I say, the Four of Wands does indicate that this is going to be affecting, and it's more than one indicator of the family unit, or whatever, again, family means to you. It's whatever represents your stability, but there's definitely some connection to that home base being impacted. So again, the Four of Wands is a card of, you're still in that place where there is some success that's coming through here. Again, I still feel that there's just a lot of tension in this next couple of weeks. Just cautious maneuvers. I don't feel like you're jumping ahead with any kind of, any kind of impactful actions, but you are making some small maneuvers that are going to move, it's going to work out as the best course of action for you. So I feel like whatever losses or mistakes or anything like that kind of came into play here, I just feel like you're able to make up or correct for those situations, and you're using your knowledge to do it, of course, but it does mean you have the ability to do it as well. So you have not, I usually, when I see a lot of fives and that kind of thing, that's really a lot more tension involved in the situation that might be external to you, but this seems to be more you sort of versus you. Again, it's more mental energy that you're putting out towards some end cycle. Things are going to be, could even be some kind of family event that's taking place here as well in the next 2 weeks, because this does look like a connection around that as well. Some kind of celebration could be coming through. There's kind of a surprise here with the Tower. But again, the Four of Wands still speaks to a lot of balance. And so I still feel like you're just holding back, but you are not giving up for sure. You're kind of redefining your position, just slowly making your way to this end result of this in the next 2 weeks here to this Knight of Pentacles. So you really have, you're almost about to transition into this big ultimate change of, again, the World card. It'll be a moment of justice that you will, be facing, because you do have the Judgment card, and again, the Death card. as well as the Ten of Swords. This, whatever this scenario was, and maybe this was on a few different fronts, there's been some significant growth that has come out of this, because even though the Judgment card is not showing up right away, it's not the major arcana in this next little bit. Again, further out, it is going to indicate that you are pulling yourself out of a situation because you've weighed out the pros and cons of a scenario here as well. When you're represented as the Justice Libra card, it's you coming through. So it's also an indicator that, you know, you really are in a place of kind of moving into a new situation or a new environment. And this is really you having some kind of, there might be a little bit of a waiting period, and maybe that's what the Hangman is all about over here, but to me it really feels like it's more stuck energy starting out, and then you're making some small advancements. But I feel like there's a level of expression that will sort of rejuvenate you as you get out of this space here. So again, it's probably happening a little further out into April, but right now there is a sense of fulfillment on some emotional level, and that you will be able to balance out your finances because things are starting to improve. There might be some kind of information, mail, letter, anything, something like that could be coming through here again with the pages. But again, they're still a little further out, but there is at least some kind of indicator that there could be knowledge here very soon after this next 2-week period that things are moving in your favor. So again, it's the Hangman still speaks to getting rid of things that kind of zap your energy and all of that. And again, it just feels like there's a lot yet to still sort of move on or work through in this next 2-week period. But I just feel like you'll be balancing out here anything that was unsettling, whatever those conditions are for you. So again, because you're moving into this Death card here as well next to the Judgment, I feel like this is about the quality of your life is about to change, your attitude is about to change. I feel like you have had to take some losses for sure, and there may be some disappointment that is still showing up here in this month, but you know, whatever was unexpectedly about to change, it does turn out for the better for you. So as I said, I feel like there is going to be possibly some kind of happy gathering or something that's taking place in this next 2-week time frame as well, but it is going to be a new direction that you're going to be focused on here very, very soon. So again, it's probably a little further out, end of March for some, maybe into April for others, but I just see a lot of cards of 9, so you're still wrapping up. And because there's so much anxiety and defensiveness right now, there is still kind of a little bit of happiness sort of coming through here, again, around the home family front here. So I feel like there is not just inner growth, but even external to you, there's some sense that there's going to be reconnection there as well. So like I said, very positive energy in around you. It's just, you just need to let go of some of those situations so that you can actually, you know, find your sense of purpose in the, and I do feel like this is a part of what the Judgment card is it's about you sort of finding that sense of purpose, and you know, and then you'll be able to establish yourself and kind of go beyond whatever was sort of holding you back here. But again, you're just about to move into this Ten of Swords energy, and that will be that'll be the end of that scenario here, because the Tower is bringing in some kind of awakening, and it does look like it's an awakening of some sort here, especially next to the Judgment card, that is going to bring about a whole new sense of you know, how you go forward. I think this month is going to give you a sense of, I'm getting clear, but it's more than getting clear. It's almost like, it's just almost like an epiphany of some sort that is kind of brings you to some kind of resolve to create this new beginning. So it's like some kind of sudden sense of, you know, how you're going to get out of a scenario that is holding you back. I just feel like you're in a place now where you are really willing to, you want a balanced life. I feel like you're getting rid of all of these things that are standing in the way, and you want a balanced life. And it just feels like whatever was, as I said, anything you were confronted with here that's caused you a lot of suffering, that kind of thing, in some way you are letting go of that this month. So it doesn't mean you're necessarily ditching everybody and that just, you know, everything disappears in one false swoop, but it does mean that in some mental capacity you've made some kind of revelation of sorts in your own mind to, you know, move past a scenario here, especially with the Judgment card. Again, it can also be an indicator that there's a little bit of a waiting period here, and more will be revealed later on, because that's what I'm seeing, is it's more to be revealed later on, because you're still in the energy of kind of holding back things and what your thoughts are and your finances, all of that. But there is going to be some new actions and decisions that will be required of you, and you'll make those decisions as they arrive, given the cards that follow. So again, you're trying to prove to yourself here, you know, that you do have the endurance, you do have all the qualities here, because you really have a real conviction. There's a lot of endurance in these cards. There's a lot of commitment to self-development. There's a lot of commitment to spiritual development and evolving. And as I said, I feel like you're breaking away from the past. You're breaking away from a lot of the things that, you know, old ways of communicating here as well. And I just feel like you will have some improved conditions coming out of this further out. But again, there could be some kind of indicator, a letter or something that's coming through here, especially with the 2 pages that are sort of surfacing here. But again, somewhere toward that end of that 2nd week, there's going to be a surprise little scenario here that comes through, and it does feel like it's more of an abundant sort of thing, something positive that's coming through that will benefit the family or benefit your finances, benefit your stability, because as I say, you're in a security-minded kind of position. So I feel like you are in a position to receive, and it does feel like there's a lot of it'll create some kind of a new lease on life sort of feeling. That's what I would get there. And again, for some of you, this isn't going to be, you might get the information in March, but it seems to be a little further out, because these are the clarifiers. But things are going to be different from this point on. Again, something in March is really going to sort of finalize how you proceed forward. There's a sense that you have some kind of new value for yourself, and a new sense of something that's going to uplift you in some way. You know, especially as I say, with that Judgment card, there is going to be something that's going to give you a sense of success, you know, even though I don't directly see success, whatever dead end situations or stale scenarios here, this is kind of, you're moving out of that energy, because you're already at the, even further out. Again, this is 10 of Swords further out, but that cycle is done. That cycle is pretty much finished. You're almost there. You're almost to the end where you actually can make some more solid choices for yourself. Again, based on your improved finances or something here in the middle. But it definitely feels like you have something that is going to be a wake-up call this month. So as I said, I mean, you do still have the Justice card here. A lot of these cards are more along the line of beneficial cards to you. So even though your worry, everything is not, it doesn't look like anything external impacting you other than that Tower moment, like I said. But again, that's a little further out, that energy. So that's why I think you're being a little bit cautious, because you're not really sure what the Tower is. And I would say that too at this point. But again, it somehow impacts the family and your stability. But there is a change that's coming, and it is going to be, you know, removing some kind of a block, whether it's spiritually, whether it's an obstacle financially, but does seem to be around the practical and around the family scenario. There's a change of plans there that is going to benefit that security, that environment anyway. And again, it's some kind of revelation of sorts here as well, because at a deeper level, the World card still speaks to big changes kind of finishing up here, and all the cards spoke to finishing up. With the Ten of Swords and all of that. But the World card is really the finalized card, indicating you've reached that end of that chapter, and there is a sense of wholeness, or you feel like you've completed something. You've learned some kind of lesson. You will feel like you have achieved something by that 2-week period, or again, a little further out into March, beginning of April. But there is a sense that you will have, you will feel like you have accomplished something. So, you know, whatever that is for you, you're going to feel a lot more balanced in the end. Anyway, okay, I do digress. I'm going on and on and on. But anyway, that's what I have for you. It looks pretty amazing. Get out of your head. Still the same advice, because as I said, you're still worrying about things around the family front, kind of self-sabotaging, But whatever the Tower moment is that is coming, you're distancing yourself from anything that is going to hinder you. That cycle is complete here, or it will be soon after. But the main energy you're in is you're focused on the family, really keeping control of the finances, slow, methodical moves. And again, there still could be energy around some small incremental changes here. Even on a relationship scale, there is still something that's kind of back and forth. Initially, though, a lot of worry, a lot of concern for something that could be even involving, you know, a younger person here, or a situation that's longer term commitment of some sort. But as I said, I mean, we are still looking at the Hierophant, and that is still further out, but it is still that card of, you know, really having to even potentially get some advice from an external party, because the Hierophant is a card of somebody possibly even mediating. And even though you had the Empress in there, where things are based around motherhood, fertility, and all of that stuff with you know, birth of ideas and so on, but because it was next to the Emperor, to me that combination really indicates that there's a couple. So it's a very responsible sort of possibly married couple, or a very strong connection to Aries here as well. Taurus is coming through, but mostly the energy is in around minor arcana. So like I said, I feel like it's just balanced, responsible energy that you're kind of trying to work through. It could lead to higher education, though, down the road here, and that's why I mentioned sort of the Aries, because it's a very responsible kind of energy in a strong way that's coming through here. So again, could be seeking some kind of further education, further advice, third party of some sort that would be able to intervene and you know, help to settle a discussion or an argument. But either way, it's very practical moves, really following your moral compass, really following a place where you need to you know, kind of take the higher road is what I would. And all the energy, like I said, all the energy that's in around feeling exhausted, feeling stressed out, all of that is coming from you. It's not from anything external. It's whatever restrictions you're putting, that you impose upon yourself, is really what's coming in there. But there is still a lot of determination, a lot of practical energy you're going to have to put out, a lot of courage that's required, and I think you might even have to just kind of, you know, protect your own energy for a little bit, you know, while you draw some boundaries and kind of move through into the, like I said, that Page of Pentacles energy is still kind of a methodical energy, but it's a new energy. And of course, with the Knight of Wands, that still speaks to, you know, headed out toward a new adventure of some sort here. Very enthusiastic, but it is possibly, like I said, some of you might be considering travel further out as well, because that World card was there. But again, not the main energy. It's still further out. The main energy is really just making small incremental moves in around your finances, in around the practical areas of your life, in around family. You do have a lot of worry that you're going to have to kind of conquer yourself here. And again, meditation, or even mindfulness is another practice that a lot of people do. Tapping, you know, tapping on certain areas of the body, if you look that up, can also help to relieve some stress. And as I mentioned in previous videos, even just reframing things. So taking a look, this is part of the Silva Mind method, but they actually use in rough, like a frame around a particular scenario that you're trying to deal with. You envision it with, let's say, a blue frame, you know, where you're trying to work through and let go of a scenario, and you put it on a screen, or as a film would play out, and then you let it play out on that blue frame screen, and then you reinvent where you're at in a more positive light with a silver screen, or something that is, you know, let's make it a green screen frame, or whatever, green frame around that film screen, and then see it in a more positive light. So it's just a way to kind of compartmentalize and release that energy, so things can start to flow through you again. Because when you have a lot of blockages, you're going to find that your energy does start to you know, holds up in the body and all of your chakras, and then you start having difficulties in certain areas that will, you know, manifest from whatever area of your life that you're unable to let go of, or find a way to deal with. So again, only try to move on the things that you can control this month, but slow and methodical, so it still feels like it's within your control, seems to be your approach. And as I said, We'll pull some more cards toward the end of the month, but for the time being, that's what I have for you for the next couple of weeks of March, Libra, and we'll do another reading further out. So have a great day. Like I said, you've got some really good cards here. It's just you have to get out of your head. Again, you're still really shadowing your own energy. So try to unlock and try to do something that's a little more free-spirited and creative that will allow you to kind of see the benefits of where you're trying to advance yourself. That's what I have for you. Keep moving forward, never give up, and we'll talk to you in the last couple of weeks of March.